This is our Frontier Opening Bell, Monday, the 20th of January. The bell rings today for President Donald Trump, his second coming as the U.S. president. It's the biggest story, a news story on planet Earth today, the return of Donald Trump to the White House. What would it mean for Africa's energy sector, immigration, trade, and a whole lot more? Inflation, the ability of Africa's sub-Saharan African economies to attract foreign direct investment, all that in play from today. Keep an eye on that. We'll be cutting into those Trump moments starting from today when he promises to release at least 100 executive orders on day one. Keep an eye on Trump's inauguration today, and we'll focus on what it means for Africa. Welcome to the Business and Markets with the 3rd in January, everyone. I am Bosin Mafayi. Just a quick run through the markets on Friday and as well on Sunday in Cairo, Egypt, and I'm sure you can see the numbers looking pretty great. South Africa finished very nicely, 1.25% on the GSE Osher Index, 84,700. Egypt started the new week positive 0.42% on Sunday. That was yesterday, and the Nigerian market was better by 17 basis points on Friday. Let's just move on. Of course, we'll talk about Trump's presidency. Then you talk about the World Economic Forum, which is starting in Davos today, as well as the whole idea about the Africa Energy Summit. Let's start with the East and Central Africa, with the continent in focus for Trump's second era, which begins today. In the meantime, the Treasury in Kenya has released the draft policy on virtual assets, virtual operators, and all that is needed to know. Then everyone's got the opportunity to comment on the new draft exposure. The deadline will be just about 2 weeks or thereabout from now. So we wanted to make comments on the new virtual assets national policy in Kenya. You have the opportunity to do so right away. The new head of Kenya's revenue agency says he wants the scrapping of the annual finance bill. His own idea is that it makes it less predictable for businesses to plan because it changes every year. So he says it was better to allow the finance bill to go out and allow for more predictability in terms of tax reforms and laws that Kenya will need to allow businesses to plan ahead and do their economic forecasts and whatever on a more sustainable basis. That's what the new KRA chief says he wants to get done. Trade within East African community, at least within the three big boys, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, was up about $2 billion last year. That's cross-border transactions. That's higher by 40% according to data that we sourced from Wango Capital. Kenya, however, as expected, is leading the big three at $1.14 billion US dollars. And good news for President Samia Suluhu Hassan, who is contesting for the second term in office. Her political party, the CCMs has given her the approval, the okay to contest in the next upcoming elections. Next door, Ugandans are already also registering for a vote election that is coming very soon, with President Yoweri Museveni still in office. And Tanzania's digital finance sector has seen a growth with Umoja coin listing on Coin Store. That's also taking the digital asset space in Tanzania higher as well. Let's get to Nigeria and West Africa. Of course, Davos today. Davos starting today, till the 25th over the weekend. Political leaders, fiscal policymakers, economists and others are discussing. Of course, the top on their agenda is the return of Donald Trump to the White House. It's a spacious Davos day one, Donald Trump day one. Everyone in Davos will be looking at the return of Donald Trump, and that's going to expect it to shake up the meetings or shape up the discussions in Davos starting from today. Keep that in mind. Two Nigerian former presidents were in Paris over the weekend, well, very quietly, to testify in that multi-billion-dollar messy power project known as the Mambila Power Project. It's been many years in coming, the project's yet to see the light of day. So former President Olusegun Obasanjo and President Muhammadu Buhari, the immediate past presidents, were at the Paris court to testify what they know about those very scandalous electricity project. And Nigeria's petrol prices were revised downward towards the weekend as the Brent crude touched $81 over the weekend, retracing to about $80.25 early this Monday, as we saw the dollar down and oil prices also and gold prices also tapering a little bit on a thin thread as we see the return of Donald Trump to the White House. The World Bank and EAFDB, let's move on, set Africa terms to win the $40 billion in power finance. The African Energy Summit will start in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and that will be on Monday the 27th and Tuesday the 28th. And of course, to talk about the World Economic Forum. Let's get on and move on to Southern Africa. And good news out of South Africa this morning is that the South African Airways, the SAA, is returning to daily flights to Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. It's been 5 years since the face-off between Tanzania and South Africa. Now, the Air Tanzania has returned flights to South Africa. That was last November. Now, the reciprocity of that is the South African Airways now today starting a daily flight back to Dar es Salaam. Congratulations, folks. That's the way to do it in traffic trade. Let's move on. Rio Tinto, Glencore, discussing a possible merger. Keep an eye on that. Eskom announced the onboarding of 2 new executives. However, sales down for the energy giant because folks are doing alternative energy sourcing such as renewables, and the cost of electricity or tariffs gone up. So sales are down for Eskom, that's looking to report a first profit in many years. And Sasol, which is the energy chemical plant, is also looking at reviving its chemical unit and exploring a possible IPO for the chemical unit of its energy business. And lawmakers in Pretoria looking to quiz big banks in South Africa over lending practices. That sounds similar, isn't it, to Kenya? Just a few months ago, when Kamau Tuje, the central bank governor in Kenya, invited the big boys, Equity, and NCBA and the rest of them to explain the lending practices in line with the interest rate officially in the country. Let's go in Malawi. FDH Bank, listed on the Malawi Stock Exchange, issued a trading statement saying this full year 2024 numbers, profit after tax will grow between 105% and 111%. And Resca Energy has entered Angola's oil sector with 35% equity stake in Block C24. Let's go north. Take it to the north. Yes, Unilever is strengthening its presence in Morocco. That's what the global HCP company is reporting, with new offices in Casablanca, the financial capital of Morocco. In the meantime, Morocco's railways is targeting 57 million passengers this year, $500 million in revenue for 2025. Remember, Marrakesh, one of Morocco's iconic cities, was voted one of the best cities in the world. Finally, Egypt and the UK are affirming the deal to boost cooperation in oil and the mining sector businesses. And those are your headlines. We've got a whole lot more to cover in the new week, but keep your eyes on Frontier Opening Bell. I am Bosin Omafaye. Do have a great day, and I'll see you back on the show.